Hello everybody, I'm making another video actually on the book Romanism and the Reformation by Grattan Guiness, but I call the video Who is the Biblical, Historical, Prophetic Antichrist? I guess there are a few viewers who are interested in knowing the answer, and the answer is very well provided in prophecy. It is very well provided in the Bible, and it is very well provided in historical documents, and books, and other sources that you can touch on. Now, in the book Romanism and the Reformation, that is published for the first time in 1887, Guinness actually made this book by combining 3 lectures that he held before thousands of people in the open. And to all these lectures, he brought the books that he is quoting in this book here. So he always had really some kind of luggage to move to these lectures. And when you read this book, which is read by Tom Fress on the link that I will provide in the description box of the video, it is read on First Amendment Radio, and Tom is the host of the website Inquisition Update that I can really advise you to have a look at. It's a wonderful website, and he has a lot of readings there. And with the studying that he did the latest 20 years and all the books that he's read, when he says that this is next to the Bible the most important book to read, to understand how we have been deceived by the Vatican's Futurism lie of the Antichrist being just one simple person in the future, that we do not see the fulfillment of the prophecies of Daniel, John, and Paul, and we don't see that Daniel's 70th week has ended with the death of Jesus Christ on the cross. When we don't awake from this deception, then we don't know where we are going, and we can't interpret the Bible the right way, and we can't interpret even our life the right way, because we are always and constantly being fed lies, and it is very hard to find the truth. But the truth is out there, and who seeks will find. And this book is absolutely a big find, and that's why Tom is reading with such a passion when he reads it. So forgive me that I don't even come close to Tom's reading, but I enjoy sharing what I've learned and giving it to other people so they can learn also. Because if you do not know who the Antichrist is, you maybe even do not know who Christ is. Well, you first have to know who Christ is, and then you have to know who the Antichrist is, who is the adversary. And if you call yourself a Christian and you're a follower of Christ, then you have to know who his enemy is. And the problem is that you believe the story the enemy himself tells you. Well, but that's okay. It's not you to blame. You don't know who he is. So this is why I'm putting this book out here, reading a little bit of it. And I'm not trying to give an answer of who the biblical, historical, prophetic Antichrist is. I know the answer, but that's not the point. I want you to discover that for yourself. I mean, we are living in the end times, and it must be interesting to know who the enemy is that we really fight, because all the governments of the world don't do anything else than putting one enemy after another up before our eyes. It's Libya, it's Egypt, it's Syria, it's Iran, it's North Korea, it's Sudan, you know. All distractions from the real one, from the real enemy, that some of us don't want to see, also because it shakes their belief system. But there's one good thing to say about the Roman Catholic Church, and I will end with this and then start the reading a bit. The Roman Catholic Church provides the documents and books and quotes from popes and all that stuff itself. It is not that we even have to make it up or whatever. They publish it. They published everything throughout the history of almost 2000 years. That we are often too ignorant and least interested to look it up, it's not their problem. But the truth is out there. So, you can get a part of it, or you believe whatever you want to believe. Okay, I'm starting reading. It's a part of page 47 of the book Romanism and Reformation from the Standpoint of Prophecy by Grattan Guiness in 1887. Sorry. Quote, "It is claimed that the chair of St. Peter, the See of Rome, is made the head of the world, that it is not to be subject to any man, since by the divine mouth it is exalted above all. In the canon laws, the Roman pontiff is described as our Lord God the Pope, and said to be, quote, neither God nor man, but both." End quote. But the climax of assumption, the keystone of the arc of papal pretension, is probably to be found in the celebrated extravagant of Boniface VIII, the Unam Sanctam, which runs thus. Quote from the Unam Sanctam from Boniface VIII. "All the faithful of Christ by necessity of salvation are subject to the Roman pontiff, who judges all men, but is judged by no one. This authority is not human, but rather divine. Therefore we declare, assert, define, and pronounce that to be subject to the Roman pontiff is to every human creature altogether necessary for salvation." End quote. I think that everybody who is a Christian must now shiver in being faced with this great blasphemous quote that just come right out of Boniface VIII, the Unam Sanctam, and you can look that up. Okay? But I will continue reading the book for as far as my 50 minutes allow me to. Okay, here we go. "All these claims were incessantly and universally urged all down the centuries by the popes of Rome, and are still advanced as boldly as ever in official decretals, bulls, extravagance, decisions of canonists, sentences of judges, books, catechisms, sermons, treatises of all kind. There is no mistaking what they amount to. The Pope claims divine inspiration. His words are to be received as the words of God. No laws can bind him. He is supreme over all. The very scriptures derive their authority from him. Implicit obedience to him is the only way of salvation. He is exalted above all, supreme over all nations, kings, emperors, princes, bishops, archbishops, churches, all over the world. He is as God on earth, and as such to be worshipped and obeyed. Let me quote you from his own lips some of the great words of the little horn. The following language affords a mere sample of thousands of such papal blasphemies." So, I will start the quote here. "The greatness of priesthood began in Melchizedek, was solemnized in Aaron, continued in the children of Aaron, perfected in Christ, represented in Peter, exalted in the universal jurisdiction, and manifested in the Pope. So that through this preeminence of my priesthood, the Pope in this case, having all things subject to me, it may seem well verified in me that was spoken of Christ, thou hast subdued all things under his feet, sheep and oxen, and all cattle of the field, the birds of heaven, and the fish of the sea, etc. Where is to be noted that by oxen, Jews and heretics, By cattle of the field, pagans be signified. By sheep and all cattle are meant all Christian men, both great and less, whether they be emperors, princes, prelates, or others. By birds of the air you may understand angels and potentates of heaven, who be all subject to me, in that I am greater than the angels, and that in 4 things, as afore declared, and have power to bind and loose in heaven, and to give heaven to them that fight in my wars. Lastly, by the fishes of the sea are signified the souls departed in pain or in purgatory. Just a little note from me here, purgatory is also a Vatican invention. It's not in the Bible and it does just not exist. It's just another lie. I do not have the time to continue as I planned because I was probably rambling a lot. But I will continue for a few more minutes. So, quote, all the earth is my diocese. I am the ordinary of all men, having the authority of the king and all kings upon subjects. I am all in all and above all, so that God himself and I, the vicar of God, have but one consistory, and I am able to do almost all that God can do. In all things that I list, my will is to stand for reason. For I am able by the law to dispense above the law, and of wrong to make justice in correcting laws and changing them. Wherefore, if those things that I do be said not to be done of men, but of God, what can you make of me but God? Again, if prelates of the church be called and counted of Constantine for gods, I then, being above all prelates, seem by this reason to be above all gods. Wherefore no marvel if it be in my power to change time and times, to alter and abrogate laws, to dispense with all things, yea, with the precepts of Christ. For where Christ biddeth Peter put up his sword, and admonishes his disciples not to use any outward force in revenging themselves, do not I, Pope Nicholas, writing to the bishops of France, exhort them to draw out their material swords? And whereas Christ was present himself at the marriage in Cana in Galilee, do not I, Pope Martin, in my distinction inhibit the spiritual clergy to be present at marriage feasts and also to marry? Moreover, where Christ biddeth us lend without hope of gain, do not I, Pope Martin, give dispensation over for the same? What should I speak of murder, making it to be no murder, or homicide, to slay them that be excommunicated? Likewise against the law of nature, item against the apostles, also against the canons of the apostles, I can do dispense, for they were in their canon command the priest for fornication to be disposed. I, through the authority of Sylvester, do alter the rigor of that constitution, considering the minds and bodies also of men to be weaker than they were then. After that I have now sufficiently declared my power in earth, in heaven, in purgatory, how great it is, and what is the fullness thereof in binding, loosing, commanding, permitting, electing, confirming, disposing, dispensing, doing and undoing, etc. I will speak now a little of my riches and of my great possessions, that every man may see by my wealth and abundance of all things, rents, tithes, tributes, my silks, my purple mitres, crowns, gold, silver, pearls and gems, lands and lordships. For to me pertaineth first the imperial city of Rome, the palace of Lateran, the kingdom of Sicily is proper to me, Apulia and Capua be mine, also the kingdom of England and Ireland, be they not, or ought they not to be, tributaries to me? To these I adjoin also, besides other provinces and countries, both in the Occident and Orient, from the north to the south, these dominions by name. Now here follows a little list, but I'm out of time. I only have a minute left, so the last part I won't read right now. But you can continue for yourself. Start on page 157 in the book Romanism and the Reformation. And if you haven't understood by my reading yet, who is the biblical, historical, and prophetic Antichrist, well, then you have to read all 414 pages and then study the Bible again and get your confirmation about that every word that Guinness is writing here in this book is absolutely true. So I thank you all for listening and enjoy the book, the reading, and have a nice day and God bless you. Bye bye.